Thank you for joining the Sharpest College Football Podcast. This is our Week 5 review. I am BuckMetrics, joined as always, by Robert Martin. Robert, the big winners of Week 5 are your Ducks. That was a very impressive win in Penn State. Giving up a lead like that on the road and seizing the win back is something really special. Now, I'm going to excuse myself and throw up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you took the lead there with a minute and a half left, and then I feel like that was the right play to do that. I feel like you had to go for two there, but it's still a really good USC team. I think they're probably not ranked by whatever the AP says. They're still a very good team.
They're as good as a team can be without a defense.
That is true, right? That was
Yes.
But no, this weekend was amazing, right? We started off on Friday with the game we're going to talk about later, and then you start in on Saturday with USC Illinois, and then you go into LSU Ole Miss, and even Washington Ohio State,
yeah.
And then you end off with Alabama Georgia and Oregon Penn State, whichever one, depending on where you are in the country. That was the one you cared about more, depending on your geographic location in the country. But no, it was just an incredible day of college football. You don't get a ton of weekends like that. This weekend's it takes a bit of a step back, but the weekend after gets a bit crazy, though. But again, it was a great weekend, and there's much more coming.
Yep. And the weekends like this upcoming one, that's when you have the upsets. It's like when nobody expects it. All right. If you are new, thank you very much for joining us. This is our glossary. Take a screenshot of it and save it where you do all your college football calculations and documentation. And if you are not new, if you're rejoining us, as you know by now, you are by definition brilliant. With that, we will go to the Week 5 takeaways. I put mine in the form of a question. Everybody knows, and it's probably been repeated to death, about the James Franklin angle of what we saw at State College. I've got a different take that I haven't really heard a lot of people say. Is Penn State where basically college wide receiving careers just go to die? I don't know what they were trying to do on offense, but it really didn't seem to involve any wide receiver except for some kind of fly sweep. Just look, let me just tell you this, okay? Obviously, let me grab my laser pointer here. Obviously, Oregon with a brilliant second overtime win here. These stats here, folks, are through 4 games for Penn State, and they've had lackluster competition. This kind of looks like these top two look like a Mekhi Lemon game just by himself for USC. Kyron Hudson, I wonder if he's had some regrets leaving USC for whatever it is he's doing up there. Congratulations on your 14 receptions, but man, this is not a bueno look for anti-wide receiver you, I guess.
Yeah, it's very weird. In that game, Penn State was so conservative. They just wanted to run the ball, which I get. I guess you want to do that because you said, 2 weeks ago, Oregon had problems against Northwestern's rush defense. Also, not really. Also, it was just one run at the end of the game that probably had a bunch of backups when they were up like 35-10. Or no, more than that. It was like 35-0 or something. It was a blowout. Like it was a blowout. There's no way Oregon's top tier players were in there or cared about. Okay, sure, he scores, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like it's like. The idea that Oregon was like somehow just like completely weak to the run because you saw one highlight of a Northwestern player running 80 yards that's not a thing. So their insistence on running the ball is a little concerning, especially when, and this was true, it's not true anymore. I believe at the beginning of the season, Drew Aller was co-favorites with, I think, Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier. Again, yeah, it's great. We called this so well in the early seasons. And it's just 5 weeks in, and everybody's, oh my God, that was like, we nailed that call. But this is the thing. You had, at one point, a very strong Heisman contender for a quarterback, and he was also a very strong contender for NFL first overall pick. And at the end of last season, a lot of NFL scouts said, he should leave right now. After they lost to Notre Dame, they said he should leave Penn State. He should go declare for the NFL draft. He'll go in the first round. That's what they said. And yet we're now going to throw for 868 yards in 4 games, which is technically under 250, which is well under 250 a clip because 250 by 4 is 1,000. And again, they played such strong competitors as FIU and Villanova, an FCS team. So you're telling me you can't pass for 250 a clip against bottom tier FBS teams and like FCS teams? Like That's very concerning. But even when they did throw the ball for a while there, until again, of course, until we got that massive deep ball from Drew Aller to score their first touchdown of the game. Until we got that, it was always like, oh, here's some guy standing at the line of scrimmage. We're going to throw it to him. He's 3 yards back in the line of scrimmage and then get tackled 2 yards up the field. It was just like, what are you doing? You're supposed to have good wide receivers. You're supposed to have a good quarterback. Why are you running like screens against Oregon? It's not working. Like and the thing is, it's actually like the 30-24 score line is actually misleading. And even at the point when it was 17-3, it was very misleading. Like Oregon was absolutely dominating this game. They had missed, I think, a field goal. They had missed a couple other things, but like Oregon had been absolutely dominating this game the entire time. And we'll talk a bit more about that in a second, but it's just you were getting absolutely just dominated at home by a road team. And especially when you're one of the favorites to win this thing, when you're supposed to have the Heisman quarterback and put number 1 overall pick, you've got all this talent, you were getting absolutely just dominated by Oregon. And that means there's something clearly wrong here. This isn't, oh, okay, we lost a less. It's like the game was tied. It was a close game all the way through, back and forth. Oregon went down the field, kicked a field goal. No, Oregon was in a dominant position. You got insanely lucky that you were able to even come back and tie it to go to OT. And that's what it is. No, there's a lot of concerning things here if you're a Penn State fan.
Yeah, and I was wrong last year when I said Franklin finally got the guy who figured out the offense, who's not going to strangle it. Andy Kotelnicki, apparently he missed. Tyler Warren's no longer there, and they got 3 wide receivers in, and he just still wants to just throw the heck out of it to the tight ends. It doesn't make sense. I'm sure, now we have to think about salary considerations or compensation considerations. You paid a good amount of money for a guy from Syracuse's best receiver, a really talented wide receiver 3 from USC who would have been like a wide receiver 2 on a lot of teams, and Troy's standout receiver, and my God, these numbers are just embarrassing here. It's just, I don't get it. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It's, I see a little bit of parallels to the Oregon State game in that, like, Penn State's, oh, okay, we're supposed to actually put forth an effort on offense now. It just, I don't get it. The other thing, too, you mentioned all the preseason all-star frauds who we pretty much all summarily dismissed. I gotta say, he hasn't won it, but the Heisman is definitely Dante Moore's to lose now.
Yeah. And that's what I said last week, right? I literally said, if Oregon wins, Dante Moore's going to be the fake. I think it was it was last week after, yeah. Indiana dominated Illinois, and Fernando Mendoza was a frontrunner. And I said, don't bet this now. This is a great opportunity to fade it. If Oregon beats Penn State next week, Dante Moore's going to be the favorite. And that's literally exactly what happened. So, now, to be fair, Fernando Mendoza did not particularly help himself against Iowa's defense, but still, though, I don't think it would have mattered that much. So, again, still a long season, but yeah. And again, I will just say that this is now, I'm fairly sure, the 3rd Oregon quarterback in a row to be the favorite for the Heisman at one point in the last 3 seasons. Yeah, so yeah, I'm sure that's not concerning for Dante Moore at all.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is I don't know what date it is, and I don't want to grab my phone just yet, but that game, Indiana at Oregon, I think it's in about a month or so.
No, it's like 2 weeks.
Oh, my gosh, okay.
Yeah,
definite implications there.
Yeah, it's next week.
Oh, that's right. That's on CBS.
Yeah.
It's the 12:30. Oregon fans are all upset about that.
It's at 12:30?
12 Pacific.
Oh, okay. Oh, are they going up against Red River? I want...
in 2 weeks, I think they are. The spot they won at NBC took Michigan at USC.
Oh, for the night game? So they don't get the night game, They get the... Oh, okay. So I'll point this out. Not this weekend, but next weekend when that is, that's Canadian Thanksgiving. So we actually have a good slate of games for Canadian Thanksgiving.
Now I know you so announced. Isn't Canadian Thanksgiving earlier this year than usual?
I think it's like by a week. I feel like it is. I assume it happens for some reason why it's not fixed to last Thursday or whatever, but I feel like it is earlier this year. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next game I want to talk about. Where's this guy been? This is the guy we thought we were getting, right? Yeah. It only took our 4th season?
Yeah.
This is like the badass offense that I thought we were going to get. And then he's goofing around with Tony Muskett and just all kinds of dumb stuff like that.
If you saw this result, how crazy that this team lost to NC State 2 weeks ago.
For those driving around or doing dishes or at the gym, this is about Tony Elliott and that awesome win against Florida State on Friday night.
Yeah, what an amazing game. Also, quick note here. This was a dual model over, and I think in 5 minutes I'm like, I think we're gonna be
Yeah.
okay. Absolutely crushed the over on this one. I think the over was what, 58 or
57,
something?
50. I pointed out Mike Norvell would try to get 57.5 himself.
Oh,
Then he had a long drive that was capped off with a missed field goal, and I thought for a moment we were in peril, but my gosh, there's no stopping that train.
no, yeah, this game was crazy. Man, this Virginia team is legit. Like, actually, I'm
Yeah.
fairly sure if they hadn't have lost to, I'm fairly sure if they hadn't have lost to NC State.
NC
Yeah,
State.
yeah, and NC State
NC
team was
State's
just,
high point of the season. I
yeah,
actually was convinced NC State was good. They looked so good, and that was just like it was the opposite. Like I say, always every team has one bad game, just ignore it. And
yeah.
that was like the throw up for NC State. It's like, no, they're not that good.
It's so funny of this just like insane reversal because the day before Virginia, a team they beats Florida State, that like a top 10 ranked team. I'm not sure if they were the favorite or Miami was for the ACC. I'm not sure. Doesn't matter anymore. But they lose to Virginia Tech, a team that just fired their coach 2 weeks ago. What a just insane reversal of fortune there. It was like, I guess, one of two this weekend, but yeah, like it's pretty crazy how this Virginia team is actually legit. The question though is this Virginia team legit and does it just have an amazing offense, or is this Florida State team highly suspect? And I think it's not 100% one or the other, but I think there's a good heaping of this Florida State team is super suspect. But
I don't know. And this is not a tease, it's an unintentional tease. No, in part two, as we go over both of my top 20s and where you rank those same teams. I can't remember where you had them. I know that I think my rankings had them as legitimate. I'll just back to Virginia here too. Of the teams I have power rated ahead of them, with the Virginia's at a 3.8. All right, they beat Florida State. They miss Pitt. They miss Miami. They miss Georgia Tech. And so they get Louisville. ACC could also be, like we're talking about the Big 12, this could be another tiebreaker conference here.
it is, yeah, I
And,
realize that, yeah.
and when you're in that situation, weirdly, it's better to lose to a dud like NC State. The head-to-head, actually, that helps you. If you beat Florida State and you lose NC State, that's the way it goes when you have these head-to-head things.
Yeah, because NC State isn't involved in that tiebreaker, but Florida State is. You
Yeah.
have the tiebreaker for Florida State.
Yeah. So they could be in the tiebreaker. I think they're playing meaningful games well into November this year.
I agree, actually. Yeah, I was very impressed with that game.
Yeah. Good. And again, I was totally wrong. I said Chandler Morris made a horrible career decision and he should fire whoever's giving career advice. Maybe fire BuckMetrics on that one because that was a great move for him. Tony Ella just needed the right guy, not named Musket. All right. I also have a listener question here from big fan of the pod, Johnny Tip. This is just, I didn't even think about this angle, but how happy is Dante Moore that he got the hell out of Westwood? Man alive. The Big Ten is just, this is so great. They're just hiding UCLA now. They're like the brother who's in the family who's been in prison and we just try not to talk about him. I want to point out here that game against Michigan State coming up here is at 9 o'clock a.m. on the Big Ten Network, which is literally just, you've been a bad boy. they don't want anybody to see you. Imagine, I did not see a second of this game, but just imagine your opponent threw for all of 115 yards and still you couldn't beat them. I don't see a win here. I don't see a game. This is not an easy schedule coming up. Home against Penn State, at Michigan State, home to Maryland, at Indiana. Man, some of these are just gruesome. Home against Nebraska, at Ohio State. That'll be fun. Home against the Huskies, and then at USC. What's the shortest line in those? It's going to be at Michigan State. A road game at Michigan State, I'm guessing.
Dude,
They've got to be like,
are coming cross country too, right? Like,
yeah. What's that game? If that's their quote easiest game or their shortest line, it's going to be like, what would you put that, like 10?
yeah, maybe. I will say though that's October Maryland though. Keep that in mind.
Oh, I was talking about Michigan State.
Yeah, you're saying the easiest game on the schedule. That game is against October Maryland, so that's
Oh,
important.
okay.
But yeah, neither of those are particularly fun. They're not going to be favorites in either of those games. I will say I actually did bet on UCLA. I had the spread, so that was cool. But yeah, again, it's really sad that you could barely beat this North. Like, actually, you couldn't beat you still couldn't beat this Northwestern team. Like, Northwestern is not good. It's not a good team, and like you're supposed to be a better team. And I will say that this is somehow an improvement over what transpired a couple weeks ago with New Mexico. From just power rating standpoint, this is an improvement. But we are hoping for a bit better here, though. So, yeah.
We'll be talking about this Northwestern team in part 2 when we preview week 6 for sure. I can just promise you that. Yes or no? 0-12 for UCLA this year?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they don't even have a win, do they? Because I'm not. We're not technically talking about Florida, at least not in part one. But I was looking at the Florida schedule today, and I was like, I don't see another win for this entire schedule. I'm like, oh, but they already have a win, so I guess it's one win. But they don't even have that. They don't even have that. So it's just, I guess, just 0-12 then.
Yeah, no, this is their shot. I don't know what this team does well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no identity there. You can't do that in this league. You're done.
Mm-hmm.
All right, those are my takeaways in the form of a question. I think somebody was looking over my shoulder here when they came up with this. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, we got to get serious about Utah State here. Like, Utah State winning the Mountain West, like, seriously. Again, we pointed out last week, I think we didn't see it this week because UNLV had a bye. But again, we've pointed out that UNLV is, none of UNLV's opponents have a win yet. And I think that's still true, right? Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Let's say they're winless against FBS because I think Miami beat an FCS team this week.
Okay.
I think they played the vaunted Lindenwood.
The smallest of asterisks. But no, this team. So Utah State is 2-2, but that's a bit deceptive because their two losses come to two of the best SEC teams.
3-2 now. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry. I said two. Yeah, sorry. Two losses. Their two losses come to two SEC teams, as you can see there. Texas A&M and Vanderbilt both come by 20 points, 22 points to Texas A&M. Fine, but those are two good SEC teams, two ranked SEC teams. They've got at Hawaii next. That sounds fun. That's fine, right? This is the thing. On FanDuel, it's 13-1. On Bet365, it's on 18-1 today. Like, and I've already bet a bit of it, but like, with the exception of Boise State, which honestly I still don't want to bet, is this the best team in the Mountain West? Like, I think it is. And the thing is, it's like, this game followed exactly the script we said, right? Because we literally said, wait till halftime, bet Utah State at the half, and they were only down 14 at the half. I bought the 21.5, and I nailed it. So I got a bit lucky there because they did come back and score more in the second half. But Vanderbilt at that point, that was part of the calculus because we said they're not going to care. They just want to go to play Bama next week, so that's fine. But man, though, this team is actually really good. I'm actually surprised at how good this team is. And again, I don't know how you mentioned it last week. Don't know how Bronco Mendenhall does this. Just like a team that, like, again, this is somehow even more impressive than the Utah rebuild, or not Utah, the New Mexico.
State.
Yeah, New Mexico. Yeah, New Mexico. It's even more impressive than that because like they had literally nothing, and he built them into not amazing, like a house or something, but like a decent, like an okay team that was like really plucky and could cover massive spreads. This team is just straight up winning games now. Like, where does he go next? Utah State, not a particularly big name college program at all in any way. Like, this is the thing, and it's just, are they just going to win the Mountain West? Because Boise State is still pretty suspect. So, start picking up some Utah State futures here. I've already picked up some. I might pick up a couple others, but this team is legit.
Couple points on this. Number one, you might recall I actually tried to make a case for Utah State last week against Vandy too. I said I thought they were underrated. This week my metrics have them as literally, including Boise State, the highest power rated team. And I think a lot it goes to showing no shame in those efforts against two legitimately top 15 teams in the SEC. The other thing that's really crazy about this is not Devin Dampier at quarterback that he inherited at Utah State. Bryson Barnes stinks, okay? Or stunk. He was horrible at Utah. He was really bad last year too.
Three passing touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know. Mendenhall's a former defensive coordinator too, but he's turned around two offenses really quickly. Yeah, no, just agree 1,000%, cosign on everything. What's interesting too is, as open as this conference is, my gosh, if we have Fresno State third, why am I seeing San Jose State there, who's in dire trouble, and not New Mexico at this point? New Mexico's actually like a legitimate team.
They actually are. They beat a Big Ten team, right? Technically, asterisk.
Yeah. Yes.
But,
more than beat, embarrassed. Just housed them.
Got coach fired. That's an improvement. That's crazy. The other crazy part of this too. So Bryson Barnes, I think, got injured sometime in either the third or the fourth quarter. And now normally for a program like Utah State, it'd be like, all right, that's it. The backup comes in. He threw for 2 touchdown passes against an SEC team. What the heck is that? How is it even possible? What? Okay, yeah, Vanderbilt had backups in. It doesn't matter. Those kids are still getting paid way more than anybody on Utah State. What is happening?
Yeah, I want to see. Okay, so this Jacob Conover, he was at BYU before. I thought that name was familiar here.
And that is actually familiar, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Speaking of getting the coach fired,
Yes,
here we go.
the fired index. We got to come up with an acronym for fired. So again, so updates here. So actually, someone pointed out to me, and I hadn't. It hadn't happened when we recorded last week, but it happened after that. We technically predicted Mike Gundy's firing
Mm-hmm.
because we technically did. We said it was going to happen. I just wasn't sure if it was going to happen this week or not. But yeah, it was a 19.5 point underperformance from the spread, and he got fired. That's what we said. We said that range is about a 17 to 20 something plus range. And also Arkansas this week, they were plus 5.5. We were actually on Arkansas. They got absolutely annihilated. And then they also, that was a 37.5 point underperformance from the spread, and they fired their head coach. Yeah, again, it's another thing where once you underperform the spread by 20 some odd points and you're in the hot seat in a game, yeah, you get fired. So yeah, some updates to that now. And also, just for posterity, I've added in Florida and Wisconsin just for now with question marks there, because we know what's happening. We just don't know exactly when, but
I
at some point.
we got. I think Wisconsin's to be determined, just because his buyout is crazy big. From what I plot here, that seems plausible to me. Cincinnati moves on from Satterfield, although that's getting less plausible now since they have something that kind of works. And if Fickle could just leave without any kind of buyout and go to Cincinnati, then maybe. But it's 25 million. They're not the most moneyed program in the world, and that's one of their problems is they don't have a moneyed roster. So we'll see. We'll see.
But
Florida,
Florida
yeah,
definitely yes, because that's the thing.
yeah.
I'm looking at their schedule today, because their first game they played, who they play week one? I'm trying to remember now. They lost week one. It was
That wasn't South Florida. That was South Florida that beat
no
Boise that week.
South Florida was the second week.
No, they beat Long Island in week one,
Oh, okay. Week one was
and then
FCS.
they
Okay,
lost to South Florida in week
yeah.
two.
So week one they played Long Island. Week
Yes.
two lost to USF. Week three lost to LSU. Week four lost to Miami. There's a bye week in there, but whatever. Or actually, the LSU was a bye week. Whatever. Their next games are Texas this week, then Texas A&M, then Ole Miss, then Tennessee. Let me just call that up here, because it's absolutely just going through the list of it. It's just I don't see how this team is not even okay. Let me just call up the schedule here. Yeah, so it is. Yeah, so this week is Texas, then at Texas A&M, then home against Mississippi State. Okay, that's maybe winnable. Then you have the neutral site game against Georgia. Then you have at Kentucky. Okay, maybe that one.
That's your chance.
That's
Yeah.
your chance. But then at Kentucky, at Ole Miss, home against Tennessee, and then home against Florida State. They have one. So what are you going to call it? Two and a half, maybe? So 2.5 win season in the no, there's no way. He's done. There's no way. That's at some point the dam is going to break. They're going to get absolutely blown out in the game. And it's probably going to be this week because Sarkisian needs a big win against a power program. And where Miami showed them mercy because I think Crystal Ball kind of wanted more attention away from him when he makes a mistake. I'll keep him there because it'll be a distraction so we won't blow them out. Sarkisian's going to be like, no, let's just blow them out. Yeah, it'll be this week. They're going to lose by 30, and then that'll be it. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have more to say about that on Island Time. I also want to point out on this Oklahoma State game, we need to build in kind of like the fan psychology angle of this open. That Oklahoma State opening line was well north of 12 and a half. I think it was like 14 and a half or 15. So the fact that it even got down to 12 and a half is like half the angst right there too. The underperformance, I think, is understated just from the raw numbers here.
There must be something where you see a number and you're like, this number doesn't seem right. Obviously with competitive teams that never saw it, but for why are we 12.5 point favorites against a bad American team? We should be, and then you just lose outright by a touchdown. I feel like that seems weird. That shouldn't happen.
Yeah. All right. Now is the time that we go to the I Want to Talk To segment where we become college football Karens. Robert, I need to talk to the people at Sports Illustrated. This is just embarrassing. Look, I'm all for aspiration, but above anything, we have to be kind of real. This piece on Sports Illustrated, this gentleman, Andrew Ferguson, he's suggesting that UCLA should make a run at one Kurt Cignetti at Indiana. Awesome idea. Also absurd. There's no way that guy would even talk to them. Also, UCLA is a poverty program. I think Cignetti just had a huge extension. I think his buyout is like almost in Lincoln Riley territory. Pretty sure I'm not going to pay that just for the buyout, and then the staff, and then the staff and then the salaries and the buyouts for the staff too. Come on, this is absurd. Sports Illustrated for people my age was so awesome.
Yeah.
Growing up, it was just like it was the thing that you just couldn't wait for, and now they've devolved to having this. Literally, I'm not embellishing here. Look at this bottom screen. Now they're having guys who are like UNLV students writing pieces like this, and it just embarrassing everybody in the process. I feel bad for the guy. You shouldn't. It just what happened to Sports Illustrated here. Now you've got college kids just saying hire Kurt Cignetti. It's literally if you're talking football with a group of people who know the sport, and then the one guy says something really dumb, and you just want to body language him out of the circle. That's the person who's writing for Sports Illustrated now.
It's a couple Mac schools this year. They're probably going to fire their head coaches too. They should go after Cignetti.
Midwest guy.
Geographically closer, right? That's like the thing is, it's just a fundamental misunderstanding of just what position Cignetti's in and what position UCLA is in, right? It's just like clearly one of the best coaches in the country. Apparently, we're like one of only 10 people who believe this. Other people think he's just like a tier below the best coaches in the country, but I'm sure that will be, any day now, that'll be fixed at some point. Again, I should just a quick point out, too, that I grabbed the preseason line of Indiana plus 16.5 versus Penn State. So that's fun. Can't wait for that game. But no, like, why would he go to UCLA? What can UCLA offer him that Indiana can't? Or rather, if he was going to leave Indiana, are you sure that UCLA is the best school? Is UCLA a better landing spot than Arkansas, than Florida, than potentially Wisconsin? Like, there's another one that I saw some people posting on Twitter after the Penn State game. People like Indiana, people like Dan Lanning going to get NFL head coaching looks. Which, like, okay, maybe. I'm not saying he's going to go for sure. But if he theoretically were to go, you think they're not going to say, all right, Cignetti, come here? And why would he pick UCLA over Oregon? Right? Like, how are you in any way better? You get the East Coast, West Coast recruits for free. So this is the thing. There are so many better programs that have so many more resources that are in so much better recruiting areas than Southern California. There is no reason for him to choose you over literally, like, he can have his pick of top schools. So, no. And first of all, also it doesn't even matter. He's a top 10 team with Indiana already. For you to even take him, you have to be like, okay, we are going to double your salary. Any players you want, you're going to instantly be competitive with the top recruits in the country, all of them. If you gave him the resources of a Florida or a Texas or if you gave him that amount of resources, okay, sure, maybe he'll consider leaving from Indiana to go to, oh cool, now I have $100 million a year to play with. But if you don't have that, which UCLA definitely does not have that, then what are we doing here? Like what are we doing here? Yeah.
It'll be fun. I want to see if we have this or we have to just guess like I did. For the jobs that open, we should at some point, maybe in a week or two, as Billy Napier and other people get fired, we should basically do, and I'm just trying to look up some data right now too. His buyout's not that bad. His buyout's $13 million. Still out of their territory.
Oh, Cignetti's buyout's only $13 million?
Yeah. But then obviously you have to pay his salary.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about staff buyouts and then their salaries. We should do probably first, I don't know, we'll have to find the time since our schedules are tough this season. We need to find a time to go through all the open jobs and just say, can they afford Cignetti? Right?
Yeah. Florida
it's not many.
Yeah, Florida.
Maybe Arkansas could just because they have Walmart money, I think. And that's about it. And Florida could too. Yeah. All right. Robert, you want to talk to Dan Lanning? Is that what I'm seeing here?
No, I want to talk on Twitter here. So this is a moment people will probably remember, this insane moment here. This was in the third quarter when Oregon had a fourth and I want to say one deep in Penn State territory. And I think for some reason they were trying to respot the ball, and I think Oregon took a timeout. And then there was a TV. They took a timeout, and then the network said, okay, let's go to commercial break here. And then I was on Twitter just at that moment, and I saw so many tweets of people saying, Lanning's got to kick it. Oregon's got to kick. They got to kick. You got to go up 3. go up 10 points against a Penn State offense that just can't do anything. And again, obviously, there's Ari Weissman there, a ton of other people who are pretty big college people, pretty big college accounts here. And then they come from break, and then there's no field goal unit on the field. They run the ball, and they immediately score a touchdown on that play. I think it's like a 12-yard touchdown run or something. And that he was, man, I love Dan Lanning here. He was so animated on the sideline. It seemed like he was so happy and so angry at the same time. And did he actually know people on Twitter were saying, like, kick the field goal?
I was going to say,
yeah,
there's probably like a 20% chance that he was like just looking on his phone during the timeout, just saying, like, F you guys, watch this. Have a face full of this.
Yeah, people are saying, kick it, screw you. But I'm like, did he know? Like, there's no way he knows. He's not like shaking on his phone in the commercial break, figuring out what does Twitter say I should do? Let's just do the opposite. But what an insane sequence of plays where it's just like he called the perfect play. And the thing is, to be fair, he was like, they were dominant on the ground. They were getting like 3-4 yards a clip. Like, why are you going to kick it there? Honestly, he also realized the fact that if Penn State were to score, which guess what they did on the next possession, then all of a sudden you're only up by a field goal. Then all of a sudden, then the whiteout's coming back on you. The crowd's going to be insanely loud because then all of a sudden Penn State. So he called it correctly. Had he gone for a field goal, they could have very easily lost that game. So this is the thing. Like, he called it right, and this is the thing. He's the head coach. He makes these calls, right? He has to know, I have this play. I've got it. I've got the people to do it. We're good. That's his job. He does it, and he executes it perfectly, right? No, I just want to talk to people on Twitter and be like, hey, guess what, guys? There's a reason why Dan Lanning's paid more money than you for this.
Yeah, I just find it hard to believe that the college football Twitter was wrong.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Shocking.
Especially Ari Weissman. That's his whole thing. I think that Wasserman is well poised. I don't know if you saw today that Paul, I'm old, I'm forgetting. Paul Feinbaum is considering running for office. I think Ari Wasserman he's well poised to be like that guy who's wrong the most about college football stuff now.
I'm sure I've probably seen him. I've seen him on like his takes and stuff on Twitter, but I don't actually remember seeing him on ESPN. Is he not on the main broadcast? Is he like shuffled to ESPN too? Or?
Ari Wasserman, no. Feinbaum, he's on the SEC network.
Oh, that's why I don't see him. You don't get that here.
No, he has like the old school call-in show with Phyllis from Mulga, Alabama.
Yeah,
we
don't watch that. Yeah, but that's why he's gonna run for Senate in, I guess, Alabama. Is there like a college football to U.S. Senate pipeline now? Is that a thing?
Apparently, yeah. Actually, Bruce Pearl resigned from the basketball coach at Auburn. Resigned, and apparently he's thinking of running for office too. What if those two ran for the same seat? That would be... I'll just say it'd be a spectacle. Let's just keep it at that.
Yeah, actually, I'm sure I remember, there's a movie. What was the movie with the one offensive lineman who went to the NFL?
Oh, Blindside.
Blindside, yeah. I was watching that movie, and actually, oh my God, what's his face? The senator. Tommy Tuberville's in that movie. And
that's right.
I was watching that movie with my family, and I was like, that guy's a senator now. It's just the weirdest thing. He just appears. Like, that's a senator now, by the way. He's just like a senate. He's in the Senate. He's not even. That's actually the real person who did this, and also he's just a senator now. Okay, it was just the weirdest thing.
Did you point out when Lou Holtz came on there and said, Ryan Day's still looking for this guy too?
Yeah.
All right, victory laps. Man alive. I've just to go back to the recurring theme here. Louisiana Monroe, a brisk. I believe they are now 3-1. This game just captures what I think this podcast is all about. It's fun if Oregon's your team. If they're not your team, it's not as fun for me to talk about how good Oregon is, but I do it because it's a podcast and Robert's a good guy. I love to find these gems like Louisiana Monroe, whom I have over 4.5 wins. And at the same time, Robert, somehow, I don't know who, I can't imagine the person. It's got to be like a bot or something. Who's looking and saying, you know what, Arkansas State, Butch Jones is going to get it fixed here. It's not happening. It never happened. The guy cannot coach defense. I want to point this out. Look, they have one win. Basically, he's like the Billy Napier of the Sun Belt at this point. You beat Southeast Missouri. Congratulations. You might win one. I want to point out something here, Robert. His last 2 losses are to Kennesaw State and UL Monroe. UL Monroe was 2-10 2 years ago. Kennesaw State, I've done the shtick. I've come around because they actually found the right guy. They were horrible last year. He just lost to 2 teams that he had lapped 5 times in terms of a resource and where your program should be thing. They both beat him. Can you imagine if we said early last year, Kennesaw State's going to beat Arkansas State? It would be unthinkable.
Yep.
And now you got UL Monroe. UL Monroe, like we were thinking they might win 2 games last year. They're total, and it's not. Look at this. How can you just in Bryant Vincent's second season at ULM? It's not like they have a bunch of anything there. They have no resources there. You get dominated on the ground by this 218 yards to 17. But I don't get how people don't understand. I should have just taken them under. I think I just was too heavy on Sunbelt as it was. But this is just like that angle about, man, there's just some coaches that people don't get how bad they are in the Sunbelt. The good ones are good, but this is like one of your better coaches against one of the absolute worst, which is saying a lot in this conference. At the same time, I did call the other side of this game, UL Monroe, I did in the preview, I called them undervalued in that 4.5, 3, and the clock has not hit October yet, so I'm very comfortable on that. They still get to play. Okay, not to spoil it, we'll just talk about them in the Week 6 preview. I'll just keep it at that.
Yeah, no, a couple things. How do you run 27 times and get 17 yards? How does that happen?
Against a Sunbelt team. It's not like you're playing JMU.
Yeah, I don't understand how you can, you can't even get a yard per carry. Also, and this is crazy, this speaks to the same modeling point or betting line point you made. Early on in this game, Arkansas State got an interception return touchdown. They're up 7-0, and then they got a field goal. They're up 10-0. Live line was ULM plus 9.5. Just mash that. And I've never thought, and it was like, oh, cool, they're up 28-10 now. No, just like, the thing is, this is the thing, right? Obviously, we have good knowledge of pretty much all the teams. We know what conference they're in roughly and all that stuff and the hierarchy. But like the average person looking at the betting, like just looking at pages and pages of these college spreads, how do you have such a strong opinion on Arkansas State that you're like, yeah, I'm going to bet Arkansas State here? We have a model, we have data that backs this up. What do you have that's making you, like, why are people so confident in Arkansas State? They didn't get close to covering the spread. They just went into a competitive game. And yet, this line was like 2.5. It got bet all the way down to even. I don't understand how that happened at all.
Yeah, how could you... Yeah, just... I don't know. Keep him there, please. I'm begging you guys. I think it got extended like about 1.5 years ago, too. I don't think they can afford his buyout, which is just, I don't know, ATM angle for you and I. All right. Your victory lap. Yes. Are you a reporter for the what is it, Times-Picayune down there in Louisiana?
I have no idea. I love this. It's just, okay, so we can't talk about the offense when you won 20-10 and scored one offensive touchdown. Can we talk about it now? Can we talk about the offense now? Because this is insane, right? And we've called this so many times. I'm not going to say about, but like, we said this was a problem. And look at the rushing. You had 57 yards rushing on 22 carries, 2.6 an attempt against Ole Miss. Now, yeah, fine, it's an SEC defense, but it's also pretty suspect. This team did almost lose to an Arkansas team that got absolutely annihilated by Notre Dame. So people now overhyping Ole Miss. It's like, hey, guys, maybe check who Ole Miss has actually beaten so far this year. Like, this is the problem, right? It's like there's still some residual hype from LSU, so people are like, oh, wow, they beat LSU. Like, LSU was fourth. And you know what? The crazy thing is that we were wrong about Washington and Ohio State. Maybe we'll talk a bit more about that game later. But we were wrong about that. But I'm actually, in one way, I'm actually very happy that Ohio State did win that game and Washington didn't. Because had Ohio State lost that game, had Washington beaten them, and then obviously had Penn State lost, and had LSU won this game, which theoretically was possible, they still only lost by 5, we would have had LSU number 1. And I would have been so how unthinkable is that? That's so unthinkable. Because now we have like LSU was like 10th and Ole Miss is like 7th or something. It's just like why? Like, why are we still massively overvaluing this LSU team? It's not good. Like, this was the hardest team they played, and I don't even think LSU is that Ole Miss is that good. Like, LSU has far harder teams coming up, and I think they're going to get absolutely crushed by some of them. Yeah, no, this is a massive problem. And again, Aaron Nussmeier, again, early Heisman favorite, early number 1 overall pick favorite, 5.8 yards in attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Against an Ole Miss team that, how many points did Arkansas score? 35. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Okay, yeah, you held Ole Miss to 24 points. Arkansas scored 35. What are we doing here? Why can we not score points? You only scored 20 against Florida, and you should have scored 40 if your offense was good. Right? This is the thing. I don't understand why people are still massively overhyping this LSU team. Just the SEC in general, especially with Georgia too, because Like, we called that too. We said, hey, I don't think this Georgia team is that good. And then they just lost to Alabama. But this is the thing. I honestly think the entire of the SEC is just not that good. I don't think any of them are that good. I think Texas A&M is okay, and I think Oklahoma is okay. But if Texas crushes Florida this week, people are going to be like, oh, see, they figured it out. Archie Manning's figured it out. But no, that's not how this works, guys. Like, people don't understand. Like, I really, the only people who understand second order, like consequences on this, I feel like we are. Like, we're the only people who actually, and our podcast listeners as well, obviously. But I feel like we're the only people who, like, sit back and think second order of how one loss and one win affects other ones for games that weren't played.
Yeah, and I think just not only that, just the reevaluation. I hate to pick on the guy, but he's just, as they say in the movie Top Gun, he's just a target-rich environment. Stuart Mandel, he was arguing that if you beat a team that was overrated in week one, he was making the case that, you just want to retroactively punish a team because of what their opponent did later? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what smart people do, right?
That's how
more data
yeah.
informs decisions that make sense. Yeah, and I think that there's not a lot of look back. And in theory, that's what the committee is supposed to be doing, where they say they start over fresh each week. But there's probably, like, everything the committee says they're supposed to be doing, they don't do. So then they just change the rules to say, oh, that's why we meant to do. So let's make the rule that now. All right. All right. Things are singular. What bugged you this week, randomly, Robert?
Yeah, so this is a blend of my world of politics and sports here. Turning Point USA, obviously, the basically political action committee formed by Charlie Kirk. They attended the Penn State versus Oregon game. They said that there was a video posted on YouTube. They said that Charlie Kirk was an Oregon fan. His beloved Ducks, as they said. And they said that Charlie Kirk was supposed to attend the Penn State versus Oregon game, and obviously he passed away, so he can't and was assassinated. So they said, okay, we're going to go in his place, and we're going to honor him. And what they decided to do was, and there's a clip of them being interviewed by Fox News, they created these white freedom shirts, and they handed out, apparently, they claim they handed out 5,000 of them to honor Charlie Kirk. A couple of problems with that. So, one, if Charlie Kirk was an Oregon fan, which, again, I never saw a clip of him saying he's an Oregon fan, but sure, that's fine. I'm believing that. If he was at that game and was an Oregon fan, he would not be wearing white. That is because the whiteout, it's a whiteout game, which means everybody's supposed to be wearing white to intimidate the opposing team, which is Oregon. So if he was going to that game, he would not be wearing white. He would probably be wearing Oregon at minimum green or yellow. He would not be wearing white. So if you are trying to honor Charlie Kirk in what would be a somewhat touching way, you're helping the other team. Yeah, really annoyed me that maybe if they didn't understand college football, maybe they did this, but yeah, maybe not the greatest way to help his opponent, the team he wanted to see lose the game. So just calling it out.
You're saying that the whiteout was not to honor Charlie Kirk?
No, it was not.
Okay. Are you aware of the horse named Traveler at USC games?
No, what's that?
So before the games, and then after each touchdown, after each score, this fine horse, they run around the perimeter of the Coliseum there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure it's because I'm a horse racing fan. They're doing it for me. Are they not? Are you telling me that's not true?
Maybe not. Maybe you should.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I'm just mistaken about that. I don't know. I guess that can happen from time to time, right?
Yeah, it can happen.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Jimbo Awards. It's just the same group that just converges over the course of a season. This is just awesome reporting here by Dan Wolken. He writes for Yahoo now, used to write for USA Today. Jackson Arnold with a mighty apex of 20 in the loss to Texas A&M. This is just awesome. Dan Wolken is explaining the play calling. So before the season, Hugh Freeze told the media, I think it was August, so it wasn't at SEC Media Day. He said, Derek Nix is the offensive coordinator. He's responsible for the game plan, but he calls the plays on first down. The third down calls go to the quarterback's coach named Kent Austin. Freeze has general responsibility for the calls on second down, but as head coach, he can overrule any other play calls. Robert, this is so dumb, I'm still not able to give up on Jackson Arnold. Jackson Arnold might go to Utah State next year and have an apex of 215 playing for Bronco Mendenhall.
Yeah.
One more thing, too. This is so great. As I was just Googling for an image of Hugh Freeze, of this. I got something better, which I put in my Google search bar Hugh Freeze, and what comes up? Hugh Freeze buyout. Hugh Freeze contract. Hugh Freeze fired. Hugh Freeze buyout 2025. And Hugh Freeze, how much are we paying this jerk to do this? My gosh, you were more bearish on this out of the gate than me. But this is just dumb beyond belief. How's it going to work for any quarterback?
Yeah. One thing I want to say there, as you're reading that, I'm like, is this like that riddle where it's like one of us always tells truth and the other one always tells lies? What? Who came up with this system? What happens if, okay, so Derek Nix, the offensive coordinator, is responsible for the game play. He called plays on first down. Then Hugh Freeze calls the second down play. But okay, so what happens if they start a play and the offensive coordinator's called the play, and Hugh Freeze, I really want to run this play on second down. But then they get the first down. So then does the offensive coordinator call it? But Hugh Freeze like, oh man, I really had a really great idea. I want to run this play. Just better luck next time. What? Like, how does that make any sense? That'd be a great time for play action. But they get the first down, they're like, can't call it. It's got to go to the offensive coordinator. Who designed this system? And the thing is, it's actually crazy because Auburn has actually covered the spread the last 2 weeks. They covered the spread against. No, they didn't. No, actually, sorry, I'm wrong with that. They would have covered the spread against Oklahoma and not been for the safety, yes. Yeah. So we'll asterisk that one. But then they covered the spread against Texas A&M because they were 6.5-point dogs and they lost by 6. Like, they're not a bad team, but whatever this nonsense is, where Jackson Arnold only throws for 3.8 yards an attempt, that seems to be the problem here. I didn't think I'd actually be bullish on Auburn, and I'm still not because of whatever this nonsense is. But it's crazy that this team is like, if Hugh Freeze actually got out of the way, this team might actually be not bad. So, but it's
You guys have Is there a MasterChef Canada, or you get our version?
We do. We get both. Yeah.
Okay. So on MasterChef one time they had this challenge where basically they were paired up in teams of 2, and the teams had to go to the pantry and get the ingredients together, and then they had to take turns cooking the meal, but one couldn't watch the other one. And so you'd have 10 seconds to brief your teammate. Okay, I made this, I made that, and okay, the chicken's being seared right now, and the pan sauce still has to be developed. And the other person's, I don't know what you're making. I really don't know what dish you're making. That's what this sounds like here, this stupid setup. It's just like he's trying to make it unwieldy. You could take, if we said the best quarterbacks today, I would say Dante Moore and Jaden Maiava. I think those guys would struggle in this system. Yeah. It's just that's the biggest indictment there.
Yeah, guess who's not doing this? Oregon and USC. Penn State probably isn't even doing this either. Probably not. We don't know.
No, that to the other extreme. It's like Lincoln Riley's too involved in calling plays. It works offensively, but this is almost, I don't want to blame anybody, right?
Yeah.
Oh. All right, your Jimbo Award here.
Yeah, this has probably been a long time coming here. So I guess we could have done Pittman, but he got fired and we didn't last week, so fine. We'll do the Big 12. So as we were watching the game between Arizona State and TCU there on Friday, wow, this is an amazing game, and these two teams are really good teams. These could very easily be the top 2 teams in the Big 12. Obviously, there's other teams in the Big 12, of course. There's still Texas Tech and others, Utah. But again, these are 2 really good teams. I'd love for them to be able to potentially play again in the conference championship game. And then I was remembering, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. The Big 12 is so even, and it basically is going to come down to random tiebreakers. And I'm like, oh, you know what? That sucks. It's going to come down to tiebreakers. So I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't the commissioner of the Big 12 say that he wanted his teams to earn it on the field? And isn't it now not going to come down to earning on the field? It's going to come down to random tiebreakers? And I just want to read the quote here, because this is what Yormark said at Big 12 Media Days, which was sometime in August. 5 plus 11 is fair. So talking about the playoff format where you have the 5 conference champions and the 11 at large. He said it's fair at the start. We want to earn it on the field. It might not be the best solution today for the Big 12, but long term, knowing the progress we're making, the investments we're making, it's the right format for us. And I'm doubling down today on 5 plus 11. And then obviously you go here on the right, you look down the multiple team ties here. You go down, there's some. That's a big. It's like easy to follow the first couple of them, but then the second you get lower, it becomes extremely complicated. And of course, the last one is just a coin toss, which is great. That's earning it on the field, right? Maybe they do the coin toss on the field. I'm not sure, but it's great. The fact that the coin toss exists there means that they've simulated this enough to know that there are some unbreakable ties, so they have to throw that in. Again, that's earning it on the field, guys. So, a couple of points here. One, I love the quote here where he says, I support this system. It's not the best for us, but I still support it anyway. And he also says, with the progress we're making, the investments we're making, are you building like an AI data center? Like, what investments are you doing here? But seriously, though, like, unless the investment is whoever won the conference last year, we're just going to give them $50 million a year. That's the only investment, because that's why the Big 12 worked. The reason the Big 12 worked during the last playoff era was the fact that in that era, you would have basically the Big 12 championship would either be going to Texas or Oklahoma, or another random other team would rise up and win it. That could be a TCU or a Baylor or something. But generally, it was like either Texas or Oklahoma or some other team that kind of came up. And they were just a really good team that year, and they would rise up and take it. The problem is you don't have that anymore. You don't have a team with the financial resources of a Texas or an Oklahoma anymore. You have a bunch of teams that are all flat. And the problem is, because they're all flat, they all have roughly the same resources and roughly the same talent caliber, they're going to beat each other up. And because of that, they're all going to have poor records. And they're all going to have roughly the same record, especially in conference play. And you're just going to be ending up picking two basically random teams, because it's going to depend on who you play. A lot of it's going to come down to who you even played in the regular season, which is random, because they sit on the schedule randomly, I suspect. I don't think they pick it specifically, but it's just random. So it's now going to come down to that. And then, so you could have the best team in the conference just be sitting at home during championship weekend, and then they're not going to get a chance to go to the playoff at all, because it's only going to go to the winner, because everybody beat themselves up. It's horrible malpractice. It's a dumb idea. And he even acknowledges that it's a bad idea. I love it. Yeah, this is a bad idea, but we're going to do it anyway. What are you doing? Like, you should be the one championing, like automatic bids for two Big 12 teams, have the champion and then the next one and the next two. You should be championing that, because you know how this works. You know that you're going to get screwed over. But what investments? Like, again, are you trying to make, like, if you're equally investing in your top programs, you're just causing the same problem again. Like, what are you trying to do here? It's so bad. Like, you should be championing automatic bids, because yes, look, TCU and Arizona State are two very good teams. TCU made it to the college football playoff championship game just a couple seasons ago. Arizona State almost took down Texas. Had it not been for, like, it was 4th and 12. Had they stopped them on a 4th and 12, Arizona would have been playing Ohio State in the semifinals. Like, the Big 12 teams are not bad. You should want as many of them as possible and as many shots as you can have. But if you're doing this stupid system where it's just going to come down randomly to who you played and who you beat in the regular season, then you're fundamentally limiting yourself. And this is the ACC is next up the line on this too. But this is the thing: the insistence on this 5+11 or whatever is insane. And this year is gonna be the proving ground for it. I think it's very clear now that one team in the Big 12 is going to get in. And every week it becomes more and more clear that one team, not three teams from the ACC, is going to get in. And maybe Notre Dame is going to get in. And everything else is going to be Big Ten and ACC, Big Ten and SEC. And it's going to take that. It's going to take one Big 12, one AC team, and then, I don't know, called USF, whatever, doesn't matter, USF. And then the rest, Big 12 and Big Ten and ACC and SEC, for them to say, oh, okay, you know what, maybe the Big Ten was right. Maybe we should have done it that way, which, again, is great because, again, now we've locked in the format for next year. So we can't do it next year. We have to do it in 2027 now. But, again, that's how this always works. So it's going to take that for them to actually learn. So let's get this over with.
Yes. It's so counter to what just common sense is best for his conference. This guy's the Manchurian commissioner. It doesn't make sense.
I mean,
right?
is he like? I almost wonder that too. Is the SEC like secretly saying, if you take down the Big 12 from within, we'll pay you? Is he actually doing that? I actually don't know. When I first heard this quote, I'm like, is the SEC, have they said, if you take down the Big 12 from within, we'll give you $200,000 a year? Is that what they did? Maybe. He
might just have a boat like in Destin, Florida or something suddenly, just in his name.
I would not put it past the SEC, to be honest.
Yeah. Why limit the money to players? Try commissioners. Yeah, I like that you have coin toss here. You highlighted that as the last tiebreaker here. Also, have you heard of the Sports Source Analytics?
Yeah,
before that?
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I've never heard of that before. I love when we just outsource it to a company I've never heard of. Like, why not the AP?
You tell us.
I guess you don't like the AP for some reason, but like this is going to be some insane thing where they're like, oh, we're paying this company like $200,000 a year to do this for us, right?
Yeah, I got to look them up. I'm going to take a note here.
It says team rating score metric, which I don't even know what that means. Like, I guess they compile some sort of rating, but I've never heard of them. Again, like, why not just use the committee? That's fine. What is the point in, I don't know. That's very weird too. It's funny how no one actually looks at this, and then I actually go look at it, and we're like, hey, that's really weird. Why is that there? So,
Yeah. Yeah. All right. A couple things noted for future reference. I'm not sure what to make of this. We were throwing dirt on the Hawaii grave there, and you've seen that Undertaker gif meme thing where he like springs back to life. The Undertaker, the wrestler. You've seen this,
yes.
right? Okay. Hawaii just did that. Now I don't know if that's Mike Alejado is healthy now. I didn't see this game. I don't know if he was limping around or if he was just like back to his full self. Maybe Jesus. Okay, in English, maybe Air Force is just really bad. We will talk about that in the week 6 preview. That could go either or both ways. Other thing, I want to remind everybody: New Mexico State was a bottom 3 team in all of FBS last year. They just lost by 18 points to New Mexico. Let's not forget that this is a complete rebuild and it's being done very well at New Mexico. But in short order, you are now 10th in Conference USA in offensive and defensive and total rating at New Mexico State. Let's not lose sight of just what a horrible coach Tony Sanchez is. I want to make sure the man gets his due for being just horrible at his job.
Yeah, you took all the pieces there and just destroyed it. And like we talked about, it's so funny, right? Because everybody was like, we were like, hey, New Mexico, that's gonna be rough without Bronco Mendenhall there. Could really fall apart. But no, they're just actually chugging along. It's like it's just like a blip. They're just continuing on the uptrend, even as. And it's not like, oh, Bronco Mendenhall was holding them back because he's taken another team and just insanely. So I don't even. Did he just start? Did he like hand off these like a binder of people, be like, "Hey, recruit these kids"? As he left out the door, he's like, "Hey, do this. This is a good idea."
You know what it is? Going back to what we were talking about last week, the man knows how to leverage the hatch chilies of New Mexico.
Yeah.
Jason Eck. I will tell you this too. Like, I'm a little scared. They might UCLA might stumble into this Jason Eck guy because he got on their radar by beating UCLA. I don't know how well he would recruit, but that's the kind of team that would give USC fits because he's a former offensive lineman. As we saw, USC's defense does not really rumble tumble, lean on you kind of offenses here. That might be one of the better hires they could make.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Robert, that is it. That is our Week 5 review. Catch us all with the Week 6 preview. We thank you for listening, and we will see you then. Until then, bye-bye.